Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I hope everybody is having a great week so far. I am Terry True Crime, and welcome to Midday Missing, where highlight current missing person cases that need more attention. And in case you're new here, Midday Missing is part of the TCWT media team, and we are your home for compelling true crime and a variety of engaging content, all within a supportive community. We produce a diverse range of shows, including both true crime and non true crime shows. Yes, guys, we have non true crime stuff. So, whether you're here for the gripping true crime stories or our entertaining non true crime discussions, TCWT Media has something for everyone. And, guys, you're going to want to stay tuned because we have some new exciting series coming to you guys. We stream live several days a week, so you're going to want to make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is completely free to stay up to date on all of our content. And those of you who are looking for a deeper dive into true crime and more exclusive content, you might want to consider joining our TCWT channel membership community. As a member, you'll get early access to select shows. And guys, you get episodes before they're available to the public, exclusive content such as behind the scenes footage, members only live chats, and bonus episodes. You also get special badges and emojis to use in our live chats and when you're commenting. And if you're interested in doing that, just click the join button on our YouTube channel for more detail and membership options. Now, guys, today we're back in my home state of Texas, and we are going to cover a case out of Sweeny, Texas. And guys, I'm going to tell you up front, this case is really frustrating and bonkers. William Russell Gray, also known as Will, was 39 years old when he disappeared. He was last seen in Sweeny, Texas. For those of you that don't live here, it's just a small town in Brazoria County, but he was seen at his home that he shared with his wife, Kristie, on October 17th, 2022. Will has brown hair, blue eyes, and he is 6 feet 2 inches tall. He's a tall one, guys, and weighed around 250 pounds. And friends and family describe him as a kind hearted man who loved his family and who wouldn't simply walk away from his responsibilities. And guys, today we have Will's older sister, Beverly Williams, as a guest to help us learn a little bit more about Will and to tell us his story. So, Beverly, I want to welcome you to Midday Missing.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No, I want to thank you for coming on to talk with me because I can't imagine this is easy for you. The whole process doesn't sound like it's been easy. It's difficult and you still don't know. So I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with me on the phone and then also for coming on today.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely not been an easy journey. It's not something I'd wish on my worst enemy. The
Yeah.
not knowing is it's the killer in all of it.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to start because we know he's missing, but I wanted I like to get to know the person and I like to share. So, can you tell us a little bit about Will and what he was like as a person and as a brother?
Oh my gosh, he had like the loudest personality, and when I say loud, I mean everything about him was loud. I mean, his laugh, he was always joking. There wasn't a cashier. He didn't go through the line. Hey, darling. Hey, honey. It was just, there was never a quiet time with him around. That's for sure. As a brother, we didn't get to have your traditional upbringing. I didn't grow up in the same home with him. I was adopted young, but we reunited when he was around 5 or 6 years old. Um, and from there, I mean, all the way from hiding him under my bed for my adoptive mom finding them so that he could still spend the night, all the way up until he disappeared. We had a bond. I mean, you get us in a room and you couldn't tell that we weren't together our whole lives. We actually joked. I have a text from him. We joked about how the world couldn't handle us if we were both in the same. It was just he was just full of life, full of love. Definitely deserved better than this.
Now, when did you first realize that something might be wrong and that he was missing?
His current wife Kristie had called,
Mhm.
um, and I knew when I saw her name on my phone. We had had previous conversations, and I actually paused and just stared at the phone. I didn't answer the phone when she initially called. My head immediately went to those conversations, and it took me a minute. As soon as she got done ringing, she texted for me to call her. So it took me a few minutes to get myself together, and then I did call her. At that time, she said his phone was there, his truck was there, but she hadn't been able to locate him. She went on to tell me that there had been an argument the night before over him skimming money from their business account. She told me that that money had been stored over towards Spring, Texas, and that originally she had thought that that's where he was in the morning when he wasn't there. And that she assumed he had went with some VFW buddies that she said she didn't know, but that now that it was later on in the afternoon, that she was starting to worry, is what she told me.
Now, leading up to this, had he said anything or given you any indication
Yes,
that something was going on?
we had actually had a conversation. He did tell me he thought that his current wife was planning to do something, and he would not leave without his youngest child. He had a plan in place, an exit plan. It just didn't. He didn't get that far. Um, so, I mean, when someone you love tells you, the things that are going on, and that they themselves are fearful of these things, it makes it hard to think anything differently.
Now, if I remember correctly, he had had surgery on his back or something like recently before that,
Yes,
right?
he had had back surgery in September, planning to go back to work at Phillips 66 in October, with the plan to have the funds to hire an attorney to pursue custody, or at least, you know, not lose full custody of his son and his older children.
Now, with all of that going on, did he ever say that he was thinking of just walking away completely?
Absolutely not. Never. He would never leave his children.
Because he
Never.
has 2 other children,
Yes,
correct, with his previous.
that's true. He has two older children. He would never, this man, okay, so he had more than, I mean, there was some issues in court going on, but clear up till the time he disappeared, the man had an abundance of visitation with his children. He drove from Sweeny up towards Houston every Thursday, roughly hour and a half, 2 hour drive, to spend 3 hours with his children, to turn around and drive home, just to turn around and go back and pick them up on Saturday, and then take them to school on Monday. He did that 3, sometimes 4 weekends out of the month. Um,
Okay, so
you're
he
not
was very involved with
Yes,
his kids.
he was very involved. You're not telling me that all of a sudden, out of the blue, these children who meant so much to him now mean nothing, and he'll leave them heartbroken and devastated and always wondering. That doesn't make a bit of sense.
Now, and this just popped into my brain, with him having surgery, was he taking pain medication? Could that have maybe affected his thought process?
The last phone conversation I had with my brother was after the surgery, and he was happy and ecstatic that he was no longer on those medications.
Okay, so it fixed the problem for him.
Yeah, he told me he felt like, I mean, he'd been playing basketball. He told me he felt like good as new. Like he actually said he wished he hadn't prolonged the surgery, because he could have had it sooner and did not. But no, he didn't like taking the medicines that he was on for it, and that was another big reason to have the surgery and get back to work. So no, he was not at that time on the pain medication.
Okay, so him leaving or just disappearing was totally unexpected to you.
100%. I mean,
Yeah,
100% in the aspect of when someone tells you that they're fearful for their life, even though you know that there's a lot of drama going on, even though you know that life is not great and there's violence and that things are happening, you don't ever, people should, and I hope that people learn from my mistake. People should take it to heart and full on believe the person instead of thinking that that doesn't really happen, because it does in fact happen, and that's how we're here.
it does. And I wanted to stop right here and say I did have the pleasure of talking with Will's wife, Kristie, last week. And I believe you're aware, but she believes 100% that Will left on his own and that he is in South America somewhere. And she did let me know that he was dealing with some custody issues with his ex-wife and that she believes that he left so that he wouldn't have to deal with it and that maybe he was trying to protect his kids. But I'm gathering from our conversation that you don't believe that Will would just leave his kids and walk away.
Never. Even I'll go out on a limb and say, even if my brother was going to leave, he wouldn't have left his kids wondering. He would have made up something. He would have said, I'm going away for business, I'm going on a vacation. He would have said something to the older two children. There was too much going on in the world there for him. There's not a chance. Not, I have zero doubt he would never.
Yeah, and I think I told you this, I think I may have told Kristie. I'm the person that I always believe that when there's multiple theories out there, that the truth lays somewhere in the middle. You know, even if let's just go out on a wild limb and say he was gonna leave. Maybe he was just gonna leave and go to that campground for the weekend. Didn't mean he was gonna leave forever, right? But that doesn't mean that something nefarious didn't happen after that. I mean, we've heard of people who get mad and drive off to the store and then something happens. Um, but what's sad, since he's still missing, we don't know what happened. And because of that, that's why I still felt that we should share this information because he's disappeared. You know, he's not there. And his kids, you, Kristie, everybody needs to know about this. So, what actions were taken when it was realized that Will was missing? And how quickly was law enforcement notified?
Okay, so Kristie called me. That was a Tuesday afternoon. When I got off the phone with her, I did exactly what my brother had instructed me to do previous in conversations, which was contact his father. We don't have a common father. We have a common birth mother. So it did take me a few minutes. I knew his dad's name and area, stuff like that, but it just wasn't, it's not like I had his contact info.
Right.
But he had told me that should anything ever happen to contact his dad, because he told us both everything. And if by some chance he missed telling me something, his dad would know what was up, or, and vice versa. So it took me a little bit to track down his father. And I did do that. His father's first reaction was the same as mine. Oh my gosh, he warned us. Did this happen? And I told him I think it's possible. He asked me if I had called the police. I was honest. I said no, I had not called the police, on the off chance I was overreacting due to the courts he had with his older children, the other custody issues. I didn't want to cause waves if I was wrong. I did, however, text my brother's phone, which I knew she said that she had the phone, but he had an Apple Watch and other ways of communicating if he wanted to. So I did send him a message and told him, hey, you told me what to do. I'm going to do it if I don't hear from you. Unbeknownst to me, after we got off the phone, his father did call for a welfare check.
Okay.
The police went out that evening. From whatever information they were given at the home, they apparently assumed that he went fishing. We as family, I mean, that's what they told his dad, but we as family, we weren't told anything different. Kristie never reached back out to say anything. She didn't even tell us that he was fishing or any of that stuff. As a matter of fact, the next morning is when I called the police.
Okay.
And I asked for a welfare check. Unbeknownst to me, his dad had done the one previous. Um, so when they did that welfare check, they come back and they asked me what my concerns were. And I told them the truth. My concerns are my brother warned me that this may happen. He was fearful of this situation. Now I'm being told he's gone. The officer I spoke to said that he had responded to some of the domestic violence calls at the home, and that based off my information and his interactions, he felt a missing persons report was warranted. So
Okay.
one was filed on Wednesday the 19th by me.
Okay. Now, we won't get into all the domestic violence stuff, but when Will told you that he worried something would happen to him, did he give you details or was he just in general because they
Um,
weren't getting along and they were having some turbulent times?
I mean, he called me. I mean, he told me a lot of details about like arguments and fights and
Okay.
stuff like that. The conversation actually come up because he was realizing that there was no saving this marriage, that she didn't want to change. Like she didn't want to change. She didn't want, things weren't going to be better until it was overdone, whatever. But he had noticed over time that during fighting, she would say that she would do these mean, vulgar, violent things. And then over time, she did do them. It's not really uncommon for people to like say things when you're
Mhm.
arguing, stuff like that. I know that you can say things when you're mad, whatever. But she seemed to almost always follow through eventually. And this particular call came because he had told me that she had started recently saying that she was going to make it so he never saw any of his children again. He said that his reply to her was, sarcastic. Well, a judge is never going to let you do that. Nice try. Only one belongs to you, type thing. And all he got was a smirk. He said about the third time, fourth time, somewhere around there, that she said it to him, that he kind of started to get the inkling, that and some other activities were giving him the inkling that she was definitely up to something and he wouldn't be surprised if he disappeared soon.
That's kind of terrifying, that thought. I mean, that is. What has been the most challenging part for you of trying to keep the word out there and getting things to happen and move forward and also trying to keep hope alive?
Well, the distance is a big thing. I believe they counted on the distance. That's definitely a big issue. The fact that actions and words don't match.
Mhm.
So therefore, nothing's really being investigated. I mean, it's
Now,
just
they did one search, if I remember correctly. I think either you or Kristie told me. They did do
yes,
one search of their property and made sure he wasn't somewhere there on the property.
they did do a search there at the
Okay.
property. I'm told that they did not bring cadaver dogs out, so I kind of wish they would have. But at the same time, I told them from the start. I mean, I'll be honest. I told them from the start. I think she's too smart to keep him there. I'm not saying he wouldn't be there now, but I'm saying I think she's smart enough to know that they're going to look there in the beginning, at least.
Now, has the police investigation revealed any potential persons of interest, or has it just remained very broad because there's no evidence, foul play, something happened to him, and there's really no evidence that he did walk away? So it's kind of a blank limbo state.
The only thing they've ever told me is that his wife has more answers than she gives and that they need more evidence or proof or information, whatever the case may be, to be able to proceed forward.
Okay. Now, how has social media helped keeping his
Um,
case out
it,
there?
it is the only way I've been able to get the word out. I was told by his wife it was in the news and the media and all that stuff. I knew better. Like I have people down there like trying to do their best to help. But I mean, it is the only way to get the word out there. And since I've started doing the actual interviews instead of just posting, it has definitely added to the following. It's gotten his face out there more. It's gotten the word spread around. So at the very least, people know
that he's missing. I mean, sad to say, Brazoria County is right next to Harris County. A lot of these cases never make it on the news. I
right.
mean, it's
That's
just
sad. I th- it my brother's case is sad in a lot of ways. People think only women can be abused. People think that men just walk away. Like there's so many stereotypes in this situation that should just be done away with.
mhm.
It's
Anyone
just
can. I mean, that can happen to anyone,
yes, it,
and we need
it,
to.
it can.
How has his disappearance affected you emotionally, mentally?
My life paused when he disappeared. I mean, obviously life keeps moving. You don't have a choice. But I'm not present like I was. I'm a housewife, a stay-at-home grandma. I raise my grandkids for my children. I'm not present. Like I'm there, but like he's always in the background of my head. Like where is he at? How do I find him? How do his kids get some answers? Like there's not, like big things, bad things happen, but like he's who I would have called. There's no one to call. Um, he's missed my son's wedding. He wouldn't have done that. Like, I mean, there's just so many things that he's not there for now that he would have been there for. Um, and when you have someone that you love, that you're close to, that has always been your confidant your entire life, like, and then they're just poof gone, and then you're told that they just did this themselves, and no harm, no foul, just suck it up and move on. That's not how that goes. That's not how it works. Um, I promised my brother I wouldn't let his kids walk away, let his kids think he walked away, and that's my goal. I don't know what else to do. There is nothing else to do besides keep going until he's found.
Now, if Will could hear you or see this, if he is in South America or Argentina, what would you want to say to him?
I'll be honest, it's hard for me to do the hypothetical thing.
So you believe he's no longer with us?
I 100% do. I don't believe that he would have told me his fears. I don't believe I would have heard the torment in his voice in the last few phone calls. I don't believe that everything that was going on was made up stories. There's police reports to back a lot of it up. I don't believe that he's out there somewhere living in Argentina. He has a pen pal he's had since the Navy there. He's not living in Argentina somewhere, living his best life without his children. It's not. But I will say, if he can hear me from wherever he is, to just know that I'll always keep pushing to keep that promise.
Now,
Today, tomorrow, 50 years, I'm going to still be out here telling this story until somebody gives us the closure we deserve.
so Sensei, what do you want to say to encourage the people who know? Because when somebody goes missing, I say, and I know people get tired of it, a spaceship does not come and
Nope.
zoom people up. It
Nope.
doesn't freaking happen that way.
Nope.
And we are humans. We cannot keep our mouth shut. Women,
Nope.
men, children, we
And
tell somebody.
I
So
believe the
somebody
first
knows.
mistake of a crime is when you let somebody else in on it, and there's no such thing as a perfect crime.
That's
But
right. What would you say to those people who know something and who aren't coming forward?
to think about it, if it was your kids, your family, like how would they feel? You don't have to tell on who helped. You don't have to tell on yourself. Just give us him. Tell us where he's at. An anonymous call, a tip. Give us closure. He's got children that deserve answers. His father's a Vietnam vet. He does not deserve to go the rest of his life wondering if he'll know what happened. He has a mother, he has other siblings, he has nieces and nephews, and he has family who loved him, who always loved him, and we all deserve some sort of closure.
Oh,
Even if you think he deserved this, we did not.
and that's the thing that I think we need to get people to understand. It's not just the person who goes missing or if they were killed, it is the family not knowing. Those children growing up and potentially thinking, my dad didn't love me enough to stay. My dad didn't love me enough to fight for me. That is not okay for anyone to do to a child.
Well, in this situation, I will say we are lucky. The older two are plenty old enough. They
Okay.
know their dad wouldn't do this. Um, but I believe
The
his
other one's
youngest
pretty young.
deserves. I believe he deserves to know that his dad did love him with everything in him, and that he would never just walk away.
Yeah. Now, I did ask Kristie that. So while I was talking to her, we talked about it, and she said that she would like to say if he was listening, she wanted to let him know that he is loved and everything is still waiting for him. And she also said that if he doesn't want to come home, she asked that he please mail a postcard to her with a phrase or something on it that only the two of them would know. And that if he does want to come home, she is there waiting, with him for open arms. And what I want to say on that, not knowing what happened to him, if anybody is thinking of just walking away from your life, don't do it. Listen to these stories. Listen to what you would be doing to these people. It is something that they will have to every day for the rest of their lives wonder, are you being fed? Is somebody doing something to you? That is cruelty. And if you love somebody, don't do that. Don't do that. And to the people who know what happened to him, you need to do the right thing because Will has 3 children who miss their father, and we're seeing these pictures of these adorable kids. I mean, they miss their father and they love their dad, and for their sake, I hope that if you know where he is, that you will say something. There are ways to do it anonymously. You don't wanna tell on yourself, I get it. You don't wanna tell on a friend, I get it. Think if those were your children, or think if it was you. Think of you being a child and one day your mom or dad just goes away and you don't know where they are. So I really want people to think about that because that is the thing about this case that I find so frustrating. There's no evidence that he walked away, no evidence that there was foul play. In Brazoria County, if you for some reason happen to find this, please work harder. I mean, just work harder, you know. And if he did decide to walk away, I'm sure you'll come on Beverly and say, I was wrong, right?
Oh,
You would love
I,
to be wrong, wouldn't you?
I've said from the start, if I'm wrong, I'll scream just as loud that I was wrong as I screamed that this happened. But at the end of the day, I don't believe he warned. I mean, and it wasn't just myself that he warned. I mean, there's a
Oh,
few
there
of
was
us
others. Okay.
who were close. So I don't believe that he would warn people. I don't believe you warn people, hey, I'm really fearful. Hey, I know what I got to get out of here, but hey, I got to do this first. And then they just vanish, and that person knows nothing and just says, oh, well, they just went off to live a happy.
Do you think, and this is a thought, do you think he would go somewhere and hurt himself and do it somewhere where he couldn't be found so that
No,
his wife or children didn't have to find him?
never.
Okay.
I can tell you that too. I am raising our sister's daughter, my niece. Her father killed himself when she was 4 years old.
Oh,
We've all seen the fallout from that. Um, all he ever talked about was how her dad was a coward POS for doing that to her, and that there
okay.
was so many other ways. And you will never convince me my brother hurt himself.
Okay.
If he even felt that way. Not only would he have called me, because he's called me in many situations, not suicidal, but if he didn't call me, he was very resourceful about the VA services and
Right, because he
counseling.
was a veteran.
Yes, and stuff like that. So it's not like he did not know how to get help
Okay,
or wouldn't get help. The man was trying to get help, just not that kind of help.
just not that kind of help.
He was just being turned away and told, "You're a man," basically.
Right. Yeah. Well, his case remains open, and law enforcement does want you to come forward with any information you have, no matter how insignificant. Even a small tip could help bring closure, to this family. So, like I said, I want you to think about his children most of all. If you don't want to think about the adults, okay, think about his freaking children and do the right thing, end their pain, and contact the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office at 979 849 2441, or you can always anonymously go to fbi.gov/tips and submit it anonymous. Guys, it's truly anonymous. You can go and do that. So I want to encourage people to do that. I also want to ask everyone who's watching now or who watches later, please go to our social media page and share Will's flyer. Also, go follow their Facebook page. It's Find William Russell Gray, right?
It's Find Will Gray.
Oh, Find Will Gray. Go and follow that. Help share it. Let's get the word out because, guys, that's going to be the way that they get their answers. So, Beverly, I want to thank you again for sharing Will's story with us. And I want you to know that everyone here at the TCWT media team, we will do our best to get the word out. We will share it, we will keep an eye on it, and hope and pray that some answers come down for his kids.
Thank you.
Yeah. And to everyone else, I want to say thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you again on Monday for another episode of Midday Missing. Also, want to remind you, you can join our Facebook group, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay connected with us so that you can be a part of this conversation. Also, want to remind you, please, if you see missing person flyers pop up in your feed, even ones not from us, please share them. I do tell you, go and give it a Google real quick. That means Google to see if they really are missing because there are a lot of scams out there. So just please remember to do that. And I want you all to remember you can catch all of our shows here on our YouTube channel. Some of them are on Facebook, but not all of them. Our podcast, True Crime and Wine Time, is available on all of your favorite podcast platforms. And we just started last week releasing Midday Missing episodes on the podcast apps as well. We're doing that so we can get the word out to more people about these individuals missing. So, just let y'all know, there was a 12-year-old boy here in the Dallas area. There was an Amber Alert. They found him. He had been taken by his non custodial mom. It was from a tip. Okay, guys, keeping your eyes open, look at the faces, don't just share them. Truly look at the person's face and look at where they're from. Share this and try to keep your eyes open for them. So, as always, guys, until next time, please stay safe, watch out for crime, and enjoy your wine time. Bye, guys.